Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Toon Review. Tonight's a little bit of a different show. We've got we're going to be talking about the Premier League table, Eddie Howe and what he's done with Newcastle, and where we can dream of maybe finishing with his points finished since he's been manager, etc. We're going to look at some players that have been linked to the club, some very, very good players indeed, and of course, see what you guys say in the chat as well. So it's a little bit of everything tonight. So as usual, if you do enjoy the show, hit that like button. Do subscribe if you're new. It is free to do so. Come and join the Toon Review community. And of course, hit the bell, which will let you know when we upload or we go live. And if you'd like to donate to the channel tonight, as usual, guys, you can hit that $sign at the bottom of the live comments, which will take you through. And it also gets your comment read out straight away. Now, before we start, look what arrived today for me. The training
took its time, didn't it?
Yeah, 3.5 months, Alex, to be honest with you. It's a really short space of time. And they delivered it to me old address, even though they had me new one. But never mind. Luckily, whoever delivered it just left it on the step of the old house. So I was able to go and collect it. We'll look at some comments before we get going. Everyone full from the serving of Tottenham hot wings. Tom Story says, evening, everyone. Crazy the amount of attention Newcastle is getting with sitting fourth in the table. How are the lads? Absolutely. John, good evening to you. Geordie Rick says, good evening, everyone. Almost killed myself today recording a new song called Sunrise. Think I will have to retire from recording. We'll try to be careful. Solo, evening all. It was a great week last week, and I didn't care. I had to be in work early today. Life's great at the minute. Long may it continue onwards and upwards. Good evening, Matthew. Still buzzing. Good evening, trolls. Gary, good evening. The normal rules apply. Comments respectful, no duplicates, and of course, no caps. We got a quick fire super chat from Daniel Craig straight off the bat. 17.99. Thank you very much, buddy. Wear class. Hashtag how are the lads. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on at the minute. We're massive. It's great. Samsonite, good evening. Ari, lads and lasses, still buzzing today. I found out a perfect way to crack a smile on a dready Monday. Just think of Almiron giving a post-match interview. That should do it every time. Yeah, it was absolutely quality, that. Ian, good evening to you. Tom says, evening, I have an idea for a T-shirt before anyone else does it. Play like Almiron. Absolutely. Trolls, thank you for your 100 Norwegian krona, my friend. Very, very kind. And thank you for your continued support of the channel, mate. Really appreciate it. Jacka says, evening, team. Hope everyone's well. Settling down for another brilliant show. How are the lads and lasses? Stu says, we are the Geordies, the Geordie Boot Boys. Absolutely. Absolutely. Albert, good evening to you. Best channel on the telly. Keep it up. Love the lot of you. Thanks very much, Albert. Tony, good evening to you. Beats is Richard Key's latest comments on Newcastle. Yeah, Alex, did you see those?
I did. I worded a very strong. I posted a very strongly worded reply that got. It was quite funny because my strongly worded reply got more likes than the BN Sports post in itself. Because everybody just hates them. It was just abhorrent. It was disgusting comments.
Pathetic thing to say, wasn't it? But listen.
It's the fact that he was essentially saying that stuff should be moved, facilities, training, whatever, should be moved closer to London, and using Yarmolenko as an example when he chose between Newcastle and London. And it's he completely forgets to acknowledge that Manchester and Liverpool as two cities don't get talked about in this regard. But when it seems to be in the northeast, it's apparently always compared to London, whereas Manchester and Liverpool. For some reason, just get it just gets side pocketed, and it's not part of the conversation. It's very strange. He's a very strange man. There's a reason why he's on that network, because he's not welcome in a lot of others, and he's not a very well liked man. So,
yeah. Up the one says, hi everyone, even all the mods watching last night before this. A bit late saying this, but fab score for my birthday yesterday. Well, happy birthday to you, and indeed, a fantastic. Birthday present given to you from the lads yesterday. Brilliant stuff. Trolls says last year 19th at this point, now 4th. It's amazing. Good evening, George. Hope you're well, mate. Julie J, good evening. Geordie Metal's in the house. Good evening to you. Tony Hunter says some salty Mackems out there, and Keys is an idiot. look, you're always going to get the salty Mackems, and just it doesn't matter what you do, they will wish that they are in the position that Newcastle United are now. It's fact, because I know for a fact if it was Sunderland in this position and we were where they are, of course we would wish we were in Sunderland's position. But Mike says, "Good evening, lads. Been in hospital the whole weekend. Brother got mauled by a dog. Wow. Well, I hope your brother's okay, mate. That doesn't sound very pleasant at all." Tony says that Newcastle should move the training ground to London. Yeah. Chris says, even though I still haven't come down from yesterday's result, 4th place. Unbelievable. Matt, good evening to you. Southern Geordie, this is all a bit surreal. It is, isn't it, Alex? I mean, you look at the table and you see us in 4th position. And like Jules just said there, a year ago, we were 19th at this point of the season. And it's an incredible journey, what we've been on this last 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, even when you look at the statistics, we've been, we talked about the back end of last year. Our form was Champions League form in terms of we were performing. I think it was towards the end of the season we were in the top 2 or 3 for points gained. I think we had a lot of looks at like January the 1st through the unbeaten run, and we were sort of 1st or 2nd for points gained. Or drop points and things. We were doing really, really well. And yeah, it's just the points are absolutely insane at the moment. It's crazy. I wouldn't have imagined it, even though everything points towards us being capable of hovering around 4th to 6th. The fact that we're doing it is a lot more surreal. It's a lot stranger now we're actually here. It's you can't help but just constantly smile when you watch the replays and look at the table and see other fans absolutely screaming at it, and a lot of pundits very split. A few are whinging and a few are praising us, but even the ones that are praising us are a bit silly because they don't know what they're talking about. There's a lot of people praising,
don't like praising us.
Well, there's a lot of people praising certain players that just odd. You can see they haven't watched us much. They're praising the wrong things because they don't really know what they're on about. They're just like, oh yeah, Bruno and this and that. They've not really watched us. They're just randomly throwing praise after they've seen a couple of games and follow the general football. As most people, they couldn't name the squad.
Yep. Alex05, thank you very much for your $8.99 super chat. Great to catch another stream. Rarely get to these days. Brilliant insights as usual. Newcastle winning the Champions League. Hope everybody's okay. You never know. Certainly at some point, I think we're going to be up there, but we'll just wait and see, of course. Brian says, brilliant game on Sunday. What a team. Good evening to Alan. Mark says, everyone eating their words. Yep, pretty much. John Bruce, good evening to you. Paul Galland, very good evening, Paul and Alex, and all in the chat. Annie says, good evening. Have the Bournemouth game on in the background. No worries. Of course, they're taking on, who is it? West Ham tonight, isn't it? Russell says, good evening, all. Here, Unai Emery lose. I think that's for Aston Villa. He's been mentioned with Aston Villa this afternoon. And if I was a Villa fan, I'd be particularly worried because look, he didn't want the challenge when we were 3rd bottom, so I don't see him coming to Villa.
I mean, they're 4th bottom, to be fair.
Exactly, so that's why I don't see it happening.
Win took them higher up, I'm not sure, but they're still quite down there.
Yeah. Foxy says, hey Paul and Stato, hope you're both well. It's been enjoyable annoying my Spurs mates these last 24 hours. Well, yeah, but listen, shout out to a lot of the Spurs fans because a lot have come on the video I did earlier on, just the fallout from the game, as I tend to do the day after the game. I'll now do a video called The Fallout, just any news from afterwards. And to be fair, a lot of people are condemning what Conte said, saying that they deserve the draw and all this nonsense, and pretty much a high percentage of them are actually criticizing him for the tactics and the fact that this was coming because Tottenham have scraped along so far this season, just picking up results on poor performances, and we've basically shown them up. So it's interesting, but a lot of the Tottenham fans were actually graceful in the defeat, to be honest.
I mean, it doesn't matter. We mentioned this yesterday. It doesn't matter which way we spin it. We win that game. If we give them the benefit of the doubt and say, right, we'll let's pretend Son scored that goal. Okay, well, let's pretend that Callum Wilson scored his dink. We still win. We still win the match, even if we give them the benefit of the doubt. If we give them a free hit, but we get the penalty, we still win the match. Any way you slice that, we win that match. There's no way they win that match.
100%. Angelica, good evening. Hi, Paul and Alex. My man and dad are coming from Newcastle tomorrow for the funeral. So I've got a chocolate cake in the oven for my dad. Very nice. Very nice. The chocolate, that is, obviously. I know the funeral's still to come, but we are thinking of you. Do you think there's any legs in the Trossard crack? Yes, I do. I do believe that, that there is a fee agreed, but whether Trossard comes or not is a different kettle of fish. Apparently, Emery's been confirmed. Really? Wow. Okay. I haven't seen that.
I did see he was trending. Although Sean Dyche is also trending. Emery, there he is. I think they're playing right now, to be fair.
Villarreal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Romano just tweeted an hour ago, Villarreal sources feel Unai Emery will leave the club in the next hours. He's expected to accept the Aston Villa job. Talks are at final stages with Aston Villa, prepared to pay €6 million release clause. And then he followed that up 40 minutes ago, closing in on the appointment confirmed. Dealers considered. Yeah, so it seems 90% done. Obviously, since Romano's Watford cock up with João Pedro, he's no longer 100%. We'll call him Mr. 90%.
Let's just wait and see. Rolly Renner, thank you for your £5 super chat. He says, do you agree that the way we're defending, if we go 2 goals up, it's game over? As I can't see anyone scoring 2, let alone 3 against us. I tend to agree with that now, Rolly. Yes. When Harry Kane scored yesterday, it didn't really worry me, if I'm honest. I thought we are very tight-knit now in defence, and I'm never under the illusion that, we're going to, easily win these games. But I think what's changed is the way we defend. We don't capitulate. Geordie Metal, thank you for your 20 quid super chat, mate. Really kind. Thank you for your continued support as well. Unreal, we are 4th, and with a good January window, there's no reason why we can't stay there. Loving it. Indeed. Right, what do you want to tackle first, Alex?
Well, we can have a look at where we're predicted to finish based on the points per game we're currently on. So we're in 4th place, 21 points at the moment. I'll say it again, we're in 4th place. So if we take our points per game average since Eddie Howe has taken over, that's around 1.6 points per game. So that's when he started in the Brentford game. So the points up until now. And then if we tack on that points per game average and just fill in the blanks of the rest of the season, that would theoretically get us to 62 points, which is not a bad total. It's bearing in mind we finished on 49 last year, so 62. That's a 13-point increase. That's a good difference. Very, very solid. So what does that mean? What does 62 points mean? Well, it would have meant in the previous season, it would have been 6th. The season before that, joint 7th. 3 seasons prior, joint 5th. 4 seasons would have been 7th place. And then 5 seasons ago would have been 7th place. So all of those finishes are somewhere between 5th and 7th.
Yeah.
Going on that sort of 62 points. So there was an average of 6.4. So you 6th place. We can settle on about 6-ish place if we get 62 points. But that's if we take Eddie Howe's average points per game since he's been here. And now, if we're trying to be a bit fairer, realistically, the team now are not the same team that were dropping points in the early days of Eddie Howe's reign. Because we dropped a lot of points. We lost a few matches. We still had a lot of the old guard that weren't doing very well. So we're a very different team now. So if we take the points per game from only this season, so with the 12 matches, that gives us 1.75 points per game, which is a bit more. It does bump it up somewhat, which would average out at 67 points for the end of the season, which is a bit more, 5 points more. And that does make a bit more of a difference. So that last season would have also been 6th, unfortunately. The 2 seasons ago would have been 6th. 3 seasons ago, it would have been 3rd, interestingly enough. And then 4 seasons ago, joint 4th. and 5 seasons ago joint 5th. So that's an average of 4.8th place. So 4th or 5th. So that's a bit better. So somewhere between 62 and 67 points, we are looking at a 4th, 5th, 6th place. That seems to be the trajectory that we're on. It doesn't matter if you take the average points per game from his whole reign or his average points per game from this season. Either. If we maintain this kind of pace, there's no reason to say we can't, because these are the average points we've been gaining.
Yeah,
he's been here for quite a while now. It's over a year. The average points are still nice and high. So unless we have a huge drop in form, which, if anything, we all expect us to generally get a bit better because we've had a few sloppy draws and drop points. I think we can all agree we can probably do a little bit better. So you could argue that we could hope that this might be a bit higher than that.
Daniel Craig, thank you for your £4.49 super chat. Top 6 would be a miracle. I'd love more. And Toon Dave, thank you for your £5 super chat. So it looks like Howe versus Emery this weekend. Villa going to get a tanking at the Fortress on the Hill. Reckon Unai won't be getting a nice welcome. How are the lads and lasses? Well, that's going to be interesting. Foxy said it's a good appointment for Villa. Not the most enjoyable style of play, but will be much more organised than Gerrard had them. Darren says, yeah, we all know about the transfers have helped, but isn't it amazing how much more certain players can produce on the field after a full week's training, and a manager that understands coaching? Class. I think we've got another £5 from Angelica. Thank you very much, Angelica. Just want to say thanks for all the lovely messages. You're a lovely bunch. Oh, and Alex, please don't shave the beard. Yeah, she does put a plea on nearly every show.
I've said many times, I'll shave the beard when we win a trophy. When we win a trophy, I'll go Bruno blonde, Gaza blonde. The beard will come off. I'll do whatever. If we shave, if we shave a trophy, we don't want to shave a trophy. If we win a trophy,
shave a trophy, you want to win one.
So it's got to be something substantial, because
yeah. I mean, look, I read a stat today as well, Alex, that I think was very interesting, because it actually it said that as well as we're doing, we've still got around 5 or 6 of Steve Bruce's squad still in the team, which is fantastic to see. Or around the squad, I should say. It's incredible what Eddie Howe has done coaching-wise, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got a huge... the starting 11, I think there were 6 or 7 pre-takeover players in that squad. I've actually got a screenshot that I took from, I think it was Gordon Kelly on Twitter, and I screenshotted it because it was really funny. So this is essentially, it doesn't show very well, but he's highlighted in blue. He circled the players that were here pre-takeover. So there's only it's more than half there.
There's only 5 players there that weren't here.
So there was Joe Linton, Wilson, Miggy, Willock, Longstaff, Fabian Scher were all here pre-takeover. So, more than half of that starting 11 were pre-takeover. So people saying it's money. Well, it's very good coaching, and a lot of the lads really buying into the project and the ideology and what the coaching staff want. It's just incredible.
Yeah. Kieran says Emery has been announced but won't take charge against Newcastle. Interesting. Don Hutchison keeps saying we when talking about Newcastle. It wasn't we when he was kissing the Macca badge at St James's Park. Look, everybody does. Listen, Don Hutchison has always claimed he's a Newcastle fan. I know he. Listen, I don't know. I certainly wouldn't kiss the Sunderland badge if I was playing for Sunderland, but it's one of them.
There is one more thing to consider as well, which people haven't really mentioned. I know it's a bit petty, but I feel like we've been quite unfortunate with playing teams when they're not out of form. We played Brighton when they were strong. Brighton, they've dropped off a little bit now, but unfortunately, we've already had to play them away, and it was a tough game. Likewise, Wolves have capitulated and been quite poor. We had to play them when they were a little bit tidier, a little bit more stable. Villa, again, we didn't get to play them at their worst. We're going to get to play them potentially as they've started to regroup a little bit and to be a bit more motivated. Same goes for Man United. Woeful at the start of the season, and we had to play them once they'd regrouped and got all their signings in. So a little bit frustrating that there's been 3 or 4 teams that have had a chance to regroup, and we've played them at the wrong times, where other teams in the league have benefited from their poor form. So I think we've been quite unfortunate there. Hopefully, probably haven't played Leicester yet either. Probably Leicester will turn a corner and be really good by the time we play them. We've just not been quite lucky.
But I don't think it really matters, Alex. To be honest, I'm not really fussed what teams come into form, because The way we're
not
playing,
necessarily, but
I mean, I know. Look,
it helps with the goal difference. It helps maybe the odd point, but yeah.
But of course, we're going to lose games along the way. We won't stay unbeaten. I mean, that's a pipe dream, to remain the rest of the season unbeaten. We are going to lose games. It's just be careful that when those games that we do lose, we don't lose our heads and go out falling apart or whatever. Because that will happen. We will go through a run of form where things aren't quite ticking along. But I have faith in the coaching staff and the players that if we do go through a run of bad form, they will turn a corner again and put it right. But I think the World Cup break will help because we could be in a position where we are between 4th and 6th going into the World Cup. And I'm really confident of a transfer window that if the owners, I know Eddie Howe says we're not going to go blitzing money left, right and centre. That's fair enough. But I do genuinely believe that if the owners do think there's a chance of Europe, they will put some money in to get some, maybe, 2 or 3 players in the door just to strengthen that squad again.
Yeah, well, I mean, the commercial revenue and the income generated by qualifying for the Champions League, being in the group stages, would cover the majority of whatever we would spend trying to get into it. Obviously, it's a bit early doors. I don't even if we had an absolute blinder, we're still, we're talking about trying to get out of a Champions League group and stuff. Things like that are far down the line. We've got to,
of course they are.
We've got to earn our keep. We were there once upon a time in the glory days, but we need to rebuild back up to that.
Yeah, well, let's be honest,
we're not
Alex,
used to
if we can reach the
5 games.
Yeah, if we can reach the Europa League, that is that's incredible as it is. Indeed, from where we've come from in such a short space of time. So we always said, didn't we? Just the first part of the European adventure, if we're honest, would probably be the Europa League, and then move on from there.
Well, with the financial thing that you were referencing, it's different because when West Ham were considering throwing money at it, there hadn't been the World Cup break, so they had played a considerable, more like a larger number of games going into the January transfer window, even though we had a few postponements, but they were further along in the season, so they could maybe think about gambling. Whereas because of this huge pause, we're still only going to be just over a third of the way through the season, so we're not even half. Mm-hmm. So, and qualifying for the Europa League and the Champions League is completely different in terms of prize money. Well, not prize money, more commercial revenue. So that would be a massive gamble if you throw money at trying to get the Champions League and you miss. That hurts because you do not get the same income from the Europa League. So I don't think we would do that. I think we will throw some at it to try and secure some kind of European place, but I don't think we'll throw money at it to try and secure a Champions League place. Absolutely not, because it's too much of a gamble.
I'm talking about Europe itself, not the Champions League.
Definitely. To try and cement top 7 or something.
Listen, if we made the Europa Conference, I'd be delighted with that. You know what I mean? It's a start, and it's European football that we haven't had in so long at St James's Park. So, for me, that would be a massive season anyway. Foxy says Villarreal played yesterday in a 2-1 win against Almeria. Another super chat just coming there. Another one from Daniel Craig. Thank you very much, Daniel. £4.49. Celebrating last night. Hashtag we've got Bruno in the middle. Indeed, we have. Dan says Arsenal and Chelsea will be interesting to see. Beat them, and we could be well away. I don't think Chelsea are going to fancy coming to St James's Park, to be honest, but we'll see. I think it'll be tremendously good games against them. Sad Cafe says I saw Trossard on Saturday. Top player, a cut above Grealish. Absolutely. Right, you've got the league table, I believe, Alex.
I have. This is the calendar year league table.
Okay.
So this is to try and give a bit of substance and support to what I was saying in the, points per game theory.
Yep.
That if you have a look at the calendar year table, which is a good sample size. I mean, it's 31 games for us. Mm-hmm. It does have us in 5th. Fair enough. Chelsea behind are two games behind, and 6 points behind, so they could close that gap and push us to 6th. But even so. Yeah, that has us top 6.
12 points over Manchester United on the same games played. That is pretty good going.
With a plus 19 better goal difference than them as well. -4 to our 15. So 17 wins, 8 draws, 6 losses in the calendar year. It would put us comfortably in 5th. If you give Chelsea the benefit of the doubt and say they win their last 2 games, then fine, we're in 6th. So either way, it's 5th or 6th. It's Europa League. So it's incredibly impressive form, which goes to show that, do we deserve top 6 for a finish this season? Well, based on 31 games of the calendar year, our form suggests yes. And this is without Maxi and Isak for parts of this season. This is without strengthening in January. So as we've just mentioned like 10 minutes ago, you could argue that we can get better. So, this is without us being slightly better. Yeah. So top 6 is definitely there. When you look at the defense as well, this is there to see for the calendar year. Because if you remember our unbeaten run, we were still very solid. We were hard to play against. It was 1-0s, 2-1s, 0-0s. It was very scrappy. Let's say scrappy. That's the wrong word. We were just there were heart-fought games all the time. So 30 goals conceded.
You look at that, 30 goals conceded, right? And you look at Man City. They conceded 25. 34 from Spurs. 36 Arsenal, and
so that would put us
same as Chelsea, who we always thought have a fantastic defense. That's pretty
so for the calendar year, we've got a joint 3rd defensive record for the whole calendar year, which is exceptional.
Outstanding.
The goals scored are a bit behind, but as we said, in the unbeaten run in the back end of last season, we weren't blowing teams out of the water. Technically, we were winning by 1 or 2 goals. But we're improving that now. We're scoring a lot more goals. Let's be honest. 3 against City, 5 against Brentford, 4 against Fulham. We've got a couple against Tottenham. Our goals per game is definitely up this season. Our attacking outlet is better, and that's with 2 of our key attackers missing. So that will improve definitely.
Good stuff. V says it'll be a shock seeing Alex with no beard. Men who shave their long-time beards always look so odd. At least make it a charity thing, mate. Our Middle Eastern correspondent, Mr. Roy Caviani, has basically took a stand over the weekend and said that he would shave his beard off if we won at Spurs. Now, I'm very interested to see how he turns up for the fan forum tomorrow, because he did a virtual thing and he looked like Miggy Almiron. And that's how many years it knocked off Roy. So interesting. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for me. If mine shaves off, I just look like a fat 50-year-old baby, even though I'm not 50, but just whatever. How doesn't get enough credit for what he did with the existing players? Well, he does from us. That's a certainty. V says that's if we win something, of course, Alex. And Matthew says, in fairness, we got to play Haaland at a decent time. Really? Listen, Haaland turned it on.
And he still scored against us, didn't he?
He played bloody well in that game. Well, quiet first half, but he then turned it on for the second half. But look, we knew we were playing Man City at a good time, but I think Man City got a hell of a shock at just how good of a game we gave them. So I don't foresee it. I know we've got to go at the Emirates, the Etihad, but things, football is a funny game, and Man City. You can't beat them. They are beatable. So why not? Paul Tully says, afternoon, Paul, Alex, and everyone in the chat. Still on a cloud after Sunday and hoping for a great game on Saturday. Do we need to come down yet? Absolutely not. And we were saying this on the show last night. You've got to realize, guys, that we were in a hell of a situation for 15 years. And then suddenly now we're 4th in the league and enjoying some fantastic football. So why not ride the wave? We've deserved this as fans. The players are doing it. The management are doing it. The owners are doing it. And the fans are doing it. So why not ride this wave for as long as it lasts? We've had plenty downs over the last 15 years. So why not celebrate a wonderful, wonderful place to be now? It would be just stupid if we weren't riding the wave. Alex says, surely I'm dreaming. I'm going into games such as Spurs away and I'm secretly confident. There was a lot of confidence going into the game, mate, not just secretly. David Knight, thank you for your £2 super chat. I'd love to beat Emery and hate Villa. It looks like he's not going to be in charge for that Villa game. I won't be actually at that game. I haven't missed a game in a long time, but I will not be at that one. It's my stepdaughter Lily's birthday, so of course family comes first. So I won't be at that game. Paul Tully says, by the way, share player of the season so far. Maybe a close second, but also special mention for Byrne, who has done phenomenally well as an almost false left back. Rochi says, you're right, Paul. Last season when we lost, we would restart a winning run again. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's what will happen. Ab says, judging by the fan forum after the Bournemouth game, fans will be calling for Howe's head or comparing him with Bruce if we draw with Villa. No, it just will not happen. Just no. Lee says, I'd love to see us sign Trossard from Brighton. He's a good player. And I think we're going to, I don't know. Is he on the list tonight?
He is indeed.
He is. Okay. Well, we'll see him. We'll see him shortly. I'm with Paul. Bring on all comers. Everyone will be scared to face us the way we're playing. We've got no reason to fear anyone. Fans like that can do one, Abs. They either have short memories or are new fans just clinging to potential. Listen, we knew there'd be a few of them kicking about. Geordie Rick says, I would still be over the moon if we finished 8th with a good cup run. Yeah, listen, we've got the cups as well, so a lot to look forward to. Angelica says, the only match I'm really looking forward to is Liverpool at home. I really want to rip them a new one and rub it in Klopp's face. I liked him. Now he's an absolute melt. Fair enough. Right, what's this statistic you're putting up here, Alex?
So this is to justify. Well, this is to check if we deserve to be where we are. Because there's probably a lot of people thinking, fine, we're in 4th, we've got sort of top 6, top 4 form. Do we actually deserve it? Are we running too hot? Is this sustainable? Yada yada yada. There's some stats to show that we do warrant where we are. So goals per match, we're in 7th in the league for goals per match, with 20 scored. Funnily enough, Fulham and Leicester have got more than us, but only by 1 and 2, so we're right up there. And then if we change this to, if I can find expected goals, so XG has us 4th as well, so we're right up there in the top 4 for goals scored expected. Mm-hmm. If we have a look at our clean sheets, which we know we're very good at, we're 1st for clean sheets with 5 clean sheets. There is also XG conceded, so expected goals against. We are a little bit further down, and this. Where are we on this? Oh, it works in reverse order, so 20th is good. So if we've got to go to the second page for this one, and we are in 16th, so we're in the top 5. So we're in the top 5 for XG conceded. What else is useful? Oh, we know we're going to be good at this. Possession 1 in the final third per match. Back to page 1, we are in 3rd. So yeah, if you click on any metric, we're there or thereabouts in the top 4, top 6, top general in that pack, regardless of what you look at. If you look at sort of valuable data, we're in and abouts there for all of it. So we do deserve to be where we are, defensively, offensively, style of play. We've not just been lucky. We deserve the points and we deserve the position, and we should be proud.
Absolutely.
Do you want to go straight on to players, or?
Yeah, definitely.
So, blast from the past for today.
Yeah, and a lot of people were wondering why this guy was on the thumbnail. Now, I was instructed by my good mate down there, Alex, to do the thumbnail. All he sent me was Mikel Merino in front of the Champions League banner. So that's why the thumbnail was like it was. So I'll obviously let Alex explain that.
Right. Well, there are murmurs, whispers, and we don't do in the nose in this channel.
No.
But I'm emotional when it comes to players like this, ex-players, and I want to run with the rumor. It is just whispers and rumors, but if you think about it logically, age profile being 26 years old, he's been with the club before. There are reports that what happened when he was with us prior is not actually exactly what it is the truth. That he left because he was homesick and yada yada. And he fits exactly what we could potentially need in terms of another midfielder. Obviously, we're heavily linked with Maddison, but there's also been a lot of talk on a new number 6 or a new sort of defensive mopping up midfielder that could allow Bruno to play a little bit further forward. This guy could potentially do that. He's a lot older than he was compared to when he was with us. He's
I mean, there was a lot of stuff about homesickness and that, wasn't there, when he was first here as well, and he couldn't
there's
settle.
there's a lot of people coming out now and saying that that was all nonsense, and there was a lot more to it than that, and that he's still very, very fond of us.
Alex, yeah, even if he still talks very highly about us. But even if it was homesickness, he was very young when he was here. So, I could forgive him that. He's matured now, and he's a Spanish international. And, he's got a very sensible head on his shoulders. And I think he'd jump at the chance to come back, to be honest.
I agree, which is why, although it's just a rumour, if nothing more ever comes of this, then at least we've had a nice little look back at one of our old players. If something does come of it, then it was great that we looked early and we got to kind of know the situation.
Yeah.
So if we do scroll down, we can have a look at how he's done since he left us. So obviously he was with us in the 2017-2018 season when he was a 21-year-old, nice and young. 14 starts, 24 appearances. And we finished 10th. Obviously, he had quite a nasty back injury. I think it was a back injury, wasn't it? And then he got homesick as well. So went to Real Sociedad. That's the story. We don't know what's real, but went to Sociedad and has been an absolute rock for them for many, many seasons. And as you can see here, they haven't finished outside the top 10, and they're consistently finishing in Europe now. So 9th, 6th, 5th, 6th, 4th. So into the Champions League places. And
he's an
generally in
integral
Europa.
part of that team, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he's playing generally 24, 35 appearances, 25 appearances, 33 appearances. He is an integral part of that midfield, making a lot of appearances, playing a reasonable number of minutes every season, contributing to goals as well. 5 last season, 6 the one before, 6 the one before that. So he's generally a 5-ish goal contribution midfielder per season, which is fine for somebody who's a little bit more
defensively minded,
tends to be sort of passes or a bit more defensive minded. Yeah. So if we're going to have a look at his actual stats, how's he doing this year?
Which
as well?
is always we like to see.
So this season, 4 assists, 1 goal. So he's already on the 5 goal contributions, and he's only played 11 matches, 900 minutes. So it's not bad. He's definitely outperforming himself this season. And his XG and XA suggests he should be somewhere around 4 to 5 goal contributions as well. So he's not running super hot. 3 Europa League games. He's got good European pedigree as well. I did check. I think he's got 11 caps for Spain as well. So international pedigree, and all of those caps came after 2020. So they're more recent caps as well. It's not like he's just been phased out from years ago. So who does he play like? He's got Tielemans and Casemiro on his stat similarity list that we know of. Possibly some people know of, some people up here. Maybe some people know Ibrahim Sissoko. He was linked with a lot of teams. So how does he play? Well, not quite the same as he did when he was a spring chicken. He's a little bit different. But
thank you, James.
It would be progressive passes. So 5 progressive passes per 90. So he's got a good eye for a pass. So having somebody that could slot in and further improve our little passing networks would be just incredible.
Absolutely.
And this is somebody that can contribute in the attack as well. Touches in the attacking penalty area is very high. Receives the ball high up quite often. It's very, very strong in terms of blocks, clearances, aerials. 1 is phenomenal. 3.1 aerials, 1 per 90. It would be another guy. We're already a massive team. People are scared of us in corners and set pieces. This would be another cog. At what is he? 6'2". He's a beast. He's also left-footed.
We all remember the header he scored against Palace, don't we? It was superb header, that one.
Gives us just a nice balance,
if I remember.
And he's playing at the moment in a bit of a funny system. So obviously another thing we've got to mention is we have just dealt with Sociedad in buying Alexander Isak. So there is recent business with them. So which is why I'm willing to entertain this idea and talk about it, because there's a lot of history there. It's an ex-player. We've got a link with the club. We've just done a deal with them.
Potential friendship with Isak as well, which
exactly. I think it's worth looking at. So. As you can see, average ratings here are nice and tidy. All above 7s generally. You've got assist, goal. He's contributing consistently. He's playing European minutes, and they are playing a really strange. I mean, I haven't watched Sociedad. I haven't really paid any attention to them since we signed Isak. I paid lots of attention up until that point. Well, it was quite a surprise, and I went back and watched a few games and stuff. But since then, I haven't really watched them at all. So this is a bit of a funny 4-1-3-2, whatever this is meant to be. Oh no, we don't want cool ball. I'm sure it doesn't look like this on the ball or off the ball. I'm sure it looks slightly different. But I think the idea here is to, I think it might drop into a 4-3-3, and David Silva is either a false 9 or I think it's just David Silva, go and do what you want. I think that's the plan here. I could be wrong. And Kubo is a bit more
Alex,
aggressive
as well. He's captain. You know, you've got like David Silva in there as well, but he is captain. Fantastic. You know, he's got obviously the leadership skills are there as well.
Yeah, definitely. He commands the midfield, plays on the left side of this funny shape. He's left-footed as well. It's kind of the way they're playing. So would he be able to play in the 6 for us or an 8? I think he'd be able to play either or. I think he could do what Bruno could do. I think he could swap between an 8 and a 6. I think he'd be a great versatile midfielder. It'd offer some balance being left-footed as well. I think it'd be incredible. I think if there's any chance of getting this guy, there is one bummer. Is I think we acquired him for. If we scroll down, so here's his history. We acquired him for 7 million from Borussia Dortmund. We lost him for 12 million euros. And if I scroll all the way up to the top, do you want to take a guess at what his current
I would say
valuation is? A bit more than that.
More.
Look at that.
52 million. Wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, these are just websites, so this could be absolutely nonsense. This is just based on
having
data.
Said that, Alex, he's captain of Real Sociedad. He's a Spanish international, 26-year-old.
He's a peak age Spanish midfielder.
He's a commander fee, isn't he?
Yeah. We would have to pay an arm and a leg to get him out of that team, depending on his contract, of course, which I haven't actually checked. Should we check before we come to false conclusions? Merino. See what it says. Yeah, market value for here is 50 million as well.
No, he's going to be around that, isn't he? And listen, I think that's a good. You know, you want to pay for a Spanish international, 26-year-old who is playing as well as he is, and a captain of the club. You're going to expect to pay that. 30th of June 2025. So we'd still have to fork the money out.
Yeah. So in January, he'd still have 2.5 years left on that contract. He's got a couple of little trophies there, hasn't he? Didn't see that. So yeah, 11 caps for Spain. And if we scroll down, I'll tell you what I should have done, which I normally do, is I normally check if they've got any what's the right word? Any players that we've got that also are represented by the same agent. So this is his agency. Is there anybody we recognize here? No, they're all Spanish. We don't have any Spanish people anymore apart from Manquillo. So no, I don't think we're familiar with the agents either. So never mind. But that's Merino for now. So I don't know what the viewers think, what we think in the chat.
Well,
I would take him back in a heartbeat. I would welcome him back.
To have him. Yeah, swap. Carl says do a swap with Chris Wood. Yeah. Frau made a comment saying that is Merino too old for our current plan?
I think 26 is all right. Is it not?
I don't think 26 is too old.
You get 5 years out of him.
Yeah,
and arguably a lot more than that. It depends on the player and how they age.
Indeed. Vitamin says, any chance the teams are coming after any of NUFC's secondary starters, i.e. Longstaff, Willock, Fraser? We don't know. There's nothing being said about anybody being interested. The only team or player that is gathering interest is, of course, Bruno, who, as I said in my video earlier on today, is possibly being looked at by Chelsea. They have apparently 4 names of midfielders they want to build up their midfield again, and Bruno is one of them. But listen, they'd have to pay an absolute frigging fortune. As West Ham have just gone 1-0 up against Bournemouth. Troll says swap Merino plus Cash and Murphy. Merino was great. Would love to have him back, says Matthew. Yeah, so listen, I wouldn't be opposed to Merino coming back. I think it'd be a fantastic signing. It's just, when you link with Maddison as well, you've got Maddison or Merino. Which one would you rather have? I mean, at present, I'd probably say Maddison.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't think we're looking at more than one of those caliber players until we get these whole sponsorships and the commercial revenue in place.
Yeah. Dimer says Richard Key says that NUFC should move to London to become big. Your thoughts, please. Well, we discussed that a little bit earlier on. It's farcical to say something like that. Richard Key's nobody takes his opinion seriously anyway, and certainly professional footballers are not going to look at Richard Key and say, "Ooh, our owners aren't going to look at what that buffoon has said and think, "Ooh, yeah, he's right. Let's take the training ground down to London."
I think he needs investigating for that. I really do. I think his employers should question him on that, because they specifically said, what is it better for, Richard? Do you mean restaurants and bars and things? And he went, no, places for the family. Places for the family. London is better for the family.
Yeah.
And they replied with, do you mean schools, like private schools? Because the Northeast has private schools. And then he wouldn't elaborate on anything. So does he mean crime? Does he mean something negative? He needs that. He could have been,
I agree.
That's dodgy.
But to be fair to Jason McAteer, he absolutely rinsed him and said he was an idiot. Of course, McAteer's played up here for Sunderland, so he knows the North. He's played in the Northeast. He knows the area, and he just everything Richard Key said. Basically, McAteer went back at him, and so did Andy Gray. To be fair, they were just saying, "So what are you talking about? You're talking about schools? Are you talking about restaurants? Are you talking about?" And then he said the family thing, and you could see the other two just going, what are you talking about? And then
he referenced Yarmolenko's case, the Yarmolenko situation, and then said, I rest my case. It's like, you've cited one player's scenario. That doesn't support your whole argument. He's a moron.
I mean, how many players, current and ex, have all said they still have close ties to Newcastle? The ex-players, some of them are still living up here. Some of them still regularly come up here and spend some time up here. Even the overseas ones always come back for a little bit of time. The current players that are playing here, saying how much they love the area, they love the fans, they love being in Newcastle. It gets taken away when you're in London. I don't care what you say. London.
Trippier lived in London. Pope is from Charlton. Pope came through Charlton Athletic. Shelvey came through Charlton Athletic. We've got some London pedigree in the squad. They're absolutely fine. John Joe Shelby's kids speak like Geordies. He loves it in the Northeast.
Yeah.
Pope jumped at the chance to come here, and he said on Amazon the other night that Shay Given was his hero, his idol. Like, they don't know what they're on about. The players know what they want, and we'll just, as fans, we know that we're not stupid.
Hoddle and Waddle said, well done yesterday. Much deserved. Thank you very much. Again, people that know the football, it's nice to have fans that actually do watch the game properly and understand the game of football. And to be fair, we've had a lot of positivity from the Tottenham fans saying, yeah, you came down, you beat us fair and square. Not a problem. But there you go. Carl says, Richard Keys has got to be insane. Anyone with hands that hairy has to be. Annie says embarrassing decision from the referee to give the goal. So he's obviously talking about that match in action now. Mansell says Emery is now the new Villa manager. Vitamin says, realised yesterday that I'm getting real comfortable with your UK slang. After watching your commentary yesterday, I screamed "get in" while watching my NFL team score. Hey, that's we are here to educate, okay, and that's what we do on the commentaries as well. Spacebar says Robbie Elliott, the keeper, loved his time up here. He defended the area when it was again slandered by Ian Abrahams. Again, talk sport. Olivier Bernard bought a pub in Blythe, and he's French. Never mind players from down south. Yeah, he also chairman of Durham City Football Club, but I think that's a precarious situation going on at Durham City Football Club. It's not in a great position. I've seen a lot of arguments online regarding Durham City. Of course, I live in Durham, and it's a shame what's happened to them, because they were doing well. They had their own ground. New Ferens Park was, a new ground for them built up by the sports complex, and unfortunately, it's all come tumbling down. They don't play there anymore. I think at the weekend they turned out with 10 men available. and got an absolute stuff. And they're conceding around 10, 11 goals every game. It's a real bad situation at Durham, and I just hope that everyone manages to get their heads together and turn that round, because it's such a shame that they can't even play at the normal ground at the minute. It's just wrong. And I do hope it gets sorted out rather quickly. Spike Milligan, thanks for your £10 super chat. Some numpties talk through the wrong hole. Yes. Frau says, does anybody think that Kane was offside for their goal? Well, you do, Alex. And I've looked at it again, and I'm convinced it did.
Yeah, a few people have messaged me about why I think it's, because you misquoted me in yesterday's show. You said it. I thought it came off Sanchez's head. I thought it came off like his upper back.
All right.
Like where his sort of shoulder blades are.
Well, if it came off him off his head or his back, it doesn't matter. It's offside.
Because you can see the ball change its like pathing. The pathing of the ball changes slightly as it brushes his back. That confirms it for me. If you go back and watch it, and I understand it's a bit petty, but rules are rules, and we get shafted when it's the other way round. So I don't necessarily like those kind of things being given. I think the offside rule needs a lot of work done to it, because it's just very anti-football, isn't it? It's very anticlimactic. It's annoying. We don't know what's onside or offside at the moment. Everybody's arguing about it from week to week. But with the rules at the moment, I think that's got to be offside. So,
yeah, fair enough. Spacebar says, I think the women's team plays at New Ferns Park. They do. Durham City women play there. Unfortunately, the men don't. Christopher says, Keys is so clever, isn't he? This coming from a bloke who was, yes, we all know about that. He's the guy's just, he doesn't seem to, he's got no brain. Mourinho, talented lad, but I'd still take Andres Santos, Danilo, or Alvarez from Ajax ahead of him.
Yeah, it'd be half the price. So, but that being said, somebody like Andres Santos, we couldn't have straight in the starting 11, could we? Because he wouldn't have clearance. He'd have to be loaned out, or I don't think he'd be allowed to play until he'd be able to qualify for the visa and the work permit.
Similar to Kuol, to be honest.
Yeah.
Huddle and Waddle, great show, you Geordies. Big love from Tottenham. Thank you very much, buddy. Diaby said he wanted European football. We could have that next season. Well, Diaby's an interesting one, because he came out and said he wanted to stay at Leverkusen because they were in the Champions League. They are having the most dreadful season known to man. And nobody could have predicted the season that Leverkusen were going to have this year. They are all over the shop.
Yeah, do you want to see the Bundesliga?
Sorry?
Did you want to see the Bundesliga? I'm sure everybody's
can do that. I know. I'm pretty sure they're having an absolute rotten time.
They are having an absolute shocker. The Bundesliga is really weird this year. Hang on a minute. That's not the right one. Need this one.
Yeah, Darren Benton and Andy Goldstein did praise Newcastle, which I nearly passed out. Dark Elf says Madison would give us top 6. I think so as well, mate, to be honest.
There you go. Here's the Bundesliga. So very strange at the moment. So
Union Berlin. I mean, that is incredible.
Union Berlin top in the table.
But look at Leverkusen, just outside of the relegation playoff place. Dreadful.
-7 goal difference, only 2 wins all season. And bearing in mind, they've got Adam Hozek, I think his name is, Patrick Schick, Moussa Diaby. They've taken Callum Hudson-Odoi on loan. They've got Florian Wirtz, which is like one of the most highly rated young midfielders in the world, a little German midfielder called Wirtz. He's incredible. So they've got some really, really top names on in their squad. I haven't really watched them, so I don't know what's going on, but I am surprised. I'd have to dig. But the Bundesliga is really weird this year, and it's a shame to see Schalke have come up and are just doing awful.
You talk about a fall from grace for football clubs. Schalke is one of them. Lovely stadium as well, by the way. Absolutely fabulous football stadium. But my God, rotten season.
And you've got Union Berlin, Freiburg up in 3rd as well. Leipzig down in 8th, Mönchengladbach in 9th. So it's gone a bit funny in the Bundesliga this season. But it's just worth noting, because obviously we were linked with Diaby and his team. they're not going to get Champions League football next year. Absolutely not. I mean, the top four, they're on 20 points. Leverkusen are on 9.
I mean, that
They've
top
got an
four is
11-point
strange,
gap.
isn't it? Yeah, but Freiburg,
It's not gonna
Frankfurt,
happen.
very strange. Very strange. Mainz, look where Mainz are.
Yeah, it makes our game against them. It puts a bit of context on it there. The fact that they're not too bad this season. 5 wins, positive goal difference. They're looking all right.
I mean, it won't be long before the likes of Bayern Munich and Dortmund are looking at Lachenmacher. From
potentially, yeah.
Hey, Solo says Santos could play for us as he's played 35 games for the first team and has a high price tag, which would qualify him to play. Key should take his face for a shite. Yep, I've said that many times. Leverkusen have some great players, though. It's very weird. Who's their manager? Well,
Xavi Alonso.
Xavi Alonso's just taken over, hasn't he? So yeah. Anyway, on to the next player, and of course it is Leandro Trossard. Can you zoom? Yeah, that's spot on.
There we go, just so people can see. So, age 27, 324 days. So he's very nearly 28. So the age profile is a little bit more than we would generally like.
Yeah.
But I think the general idea here is it's replacing wingers that are aging out or not good enough for us anymore, i.e. Fraser and potentially Murphy. Yes, Murphy's done much better recently, fair enough, but he's not Trossard. And we are going to have to slowly improve the squad, and people are going to have to get slowly phased out. And we're going to have to do this step by step because we don't want to destroy the harmony and the togetherness. We need to add people. But Eddie Howe's very good at that. If people play well, they play matches. So quite a balanced player for us really here. He would slot in quite nicely, can play in the wings as a second striker. He's even doubled up as a defensive fullback or a wing back when necessary. Right-footed left winger is his general position, kind of the maxi role. Is on a rumoured £42,000 per week, which is, we could increase that to 60, 70, 80, 90 and be well within our wage structure. Not a problem. He would probably be demanding that if he moves anyway, which would be fine. We could afford it. No problem. 6 goals, 1 assist this season. So I think he did get the hat trick, didn't he? If I'm thinking of the same player, I believe it was him. From 3xG. So arguably he should be on 4 goal contributions. He's on 7. He's having a blinder. Very, very good season. And if we scroll down and have a look at his stats, so you can see what I was mentioning here. You have the option to view his stats as a winger, as a fullback, as a forward, because he's very, very, very versatile. And then if you put him versus fullbacks, his stats just go through the roof. And then versus forwards as well, very different. But the general, the meat of the stats, the data doesn't change. It's just the percentile changes. So still getting 2.3 shots per game, which is nice and tidy. Shot creating actions is fairly decent at 3.24. He's a very pressy forward as well. It doesn't necessarily suggest it here. I would argue that because Brighton are so possession dominant as well, he's a lot more pressy than I think this suggests. And you can have a look at similar players as well on here. We've got Jadon Sancho there, Asensio from Real Madrid, Pedro, who's now at Lazio, Benrahma, Coutinho, Lookman. So we've got some good company on there. And you can actually see versus fullbacks as well. Yannick Carrasco is the first. I mean, we've been linked with him a number of times, so it's interesting that he's the closest match. And then if we
as well at Juventus, he's a very good player. There's a couple of people asking how far we are away from 15,000 subscribers. 160. So we are not far away at all. 160. So please get sharing, etc. And let's get that 15K this week, eh? It will be absolutely lovely. Sorry, keep going, Alex.
This is his transfer marked, and as you can see, the transfer marked always attach rumors to the players' pages. You can see that we're on his rumor page at the moment with the 23% probability of transfer. Make of that what you will. And there you go. You can see it says left winger, attacking midfield, second striker, and fullback as well. He plays everywhere. So current deal expires in summer, but they do have an option to extend for another year. So I'm not sure exactly what the deal is with that, whether they could just trigger the year.
If they take the risk of trying to get an extra year, or
Well, it's club option, so I would imagine that they can trigger that and then demand a bit more money.
Yeah,
I would imagine that's going to be the play. So we'll have to wait and see. But international pedigree as well. If we scroll up, he has 21 caps for Belgium, 5 goals. So very, very good pedigree. Do you want to take a stab at his place of birth, Paul?
Water ski.
I have no idea. I'll trust you on that one.
Or water share, or something like that. I don't know.
I don't speak. Well, it's not German, so it'll be Flemish or it'll be French, won't it? One or the other. So SofaScore. There you go. See, SofaScore sees what I mean. SofaScore has listed his strengths as high pressing and long balls. Two things that we like. We like sort of Trippier, Cher, Shelvey, Bruno, long balls. And we're good at pressing. So it's funny that.
And no outstanding weaknesses, which is incredible.
It is indeed. So their play evaluation is similar to the transfer market in sort of 25 million euros ish. And if we go and have a look at how he's been lining up for Brighton. Oh, there you go. There was his hat trick. Oh, it was against Liverpool. I forgot about that. Very
Anfield,
nice.
yeah.
So how were Brighton playing at the time? So they were in that funny wing-back shape with Trossard out on the left. And presumably he had an absolute blinder, did he? He did indeed. 4 shots on target. He got a dribble, missed a big chance. Not too much else. Only 1 out of 8 duels. So it was more just he's a good clinician, really. He's very clinical, very, very precise. And you would expect that for somebody with the international caliber that he's got. The goals for his country and his club, his age profile. Might be maybe they're looking at bringing in some calmer, slightly more experienced heads to balance it out. Because we've brought in a huge wave of youngsters recently. Fair enough, they're not in the first team plans right now, but arguably that they will be in a year's time to 18 months. That's the plan. So, but yeah, Trossard, I would take him definitely. I think it's an upgrade on Murphy or Fraser. So 100% improves the squad.
Okay. Guys, if you are enjoying tonight's show, as usual, please hit that like button for us. It really, really does help the channel progress and become bigger and get searched for easier. So if you can all just hit that like button right now, that would be fantastic to everybody that's watching. We got over 800 watching, which again is fabulous. Thank you so much. If you are new to the channel and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Come and be part of the community of wonderful subscribers to this channel. It is free to do so, and also hit that bell, which will let you know when we upgrade or we go live. You can become a member of the Toon Review if you wish. We always have member giveaways and things like that, so hit the join button just underneath the video. And if you're on iOS, you may have to pop across to a desktop version of YouTube to do that. We've got a Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, look for the Toon Review on there. We're on Instagram and, of course, Twitter as well at the Toon Review. And we also have merchandise, guys, so don't forget. But if you want to just quickly, if you want to donate to the channel, just hit the $ at the bottom of the live comments. And this is where you'll find all the goody merchandise.
So let's get down to business. I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you like it now. I've been waiting. Gonna make that move now. Baby, tell me how you like it. Let's get down, business.
So there you go, guys. The toonreview.co.uk is your place to go for all the merch. Spacebar says that's another thing to bear in mind. We have Koala arriving in January too, so whatever the budget is for January, his arrival has to be considered. Jay Spencer says, what about Mudryk? Jay
has gone very quiet on him, to be fair.
Yeah. What about Mudryk? Top quality player. Is he coming to Newcastle? Like Alex has just said there, very, very quiet. Eddie's Mag says thoughts on Kieran Tierney for left back. No thanks.
I'd take him because he's Manx, but he's more injury prone than anybody.
Yeah, he spends a lot of time on the sidelines. Andy says, I agree with Keys. We should relocate our new training ground to Wembley, London. We'll be spending a lot of time there in the future. I was about to slate you for that comment, but I see where you're going with that, Andy. We will, hopefully. If we get Champions League, how much does it increase our spend power for next season?
A lot.
Yeah,
A lot.
You do get a
Because
lot.
you can factor in the revenue, that you'd get from the broadcasting revenue.
Yeah.
Just for playing the matches in the group stage, and that's not to say, if we could get out of a group stage, you'd get even more for each subsequent round you get to, and it's very, very lucrative. And you can pump a lot of money into it. So, but it's not worth the risk of, if you get fourth, then you can spend because it's safe. But what we were talking about before is spending to try and get fourth is quite risky. Arsenal did it and have messed up. They messed up last season. They missed out and they got Europa, but they're absolutely flying this year, and they do look like they probably will get Champions League unless they massively have a huge decline. So they might be safe. But if they'd have had another poor season this year, they might be in a bit of financial trouble because they've thrown a lot of money around.
Absolutely.
Despite their, probably quite high revenue.
Yeah. Craig says, who else is hoping that Callum Wilson doesn't get called up for England? I prefer as few as possible to go to the World Cup. Look, I think, on a personal level, for Callum to be called up would be amazing. It'd be fantastic for him. And again, the global brand of Newcastle United, you've got to think the more international players we start to have, the more the global brand grows. Because the commentators saying, Newcastle United's Callum Wilson or Newcastle United's Fabian Schär, etc. It creates a global brand, and that's what we're looking for. I understand on the flip side of the injuries and things like that we don't want that, but sometimes there's pros and cons to it, I guess. Kelvin says, so if we're top 4 in January, you reckon we'll have a good chance of getting top players? I think we do at the minute. I think we've still got an opportunity to get good players in where we are now.
I don't think it changes much because I think we've already got our list. I don't think it changes anything. I think we've got our list and that's it. I don't know how it could change. It'd be great, but
yeah.
I mean, if we were sat in 10th or 11th, then that list they might go more aggressive or less aggressive on the spending, but I don't think it will change much whether we're sat in 4th or 6th or 7th come January. I think they've got their targets, and that's who they'll try and go for.
Yep. Tom, again, talking about Christmas cracker jokes. Jesus. Wow, Liverpool's manager has just resigned. He said he's taken his family home to Germany. The Klopps go back this weekend. Sorry, just seen it on Twitter. Couldn't resist. Dear me. Mansell says, would love us to go for Frimpong, the right back from Leverkusen. Didn't he is that the former Arsenal player? The Arsenal kid?
I don't think so.
I'm sure it is.
I mean, when we were just looking at Trossard, and whenever we look at fullbacks, he's always on a stat match list, to be fair. I see his name all the time.
D5 says, we won't sign anyone in January. Think we'll be pre-contract or building contract for the summer signings. Possibly, but I think they will bring in 1 or 2. I think they have to. I don't think they'll just sort of sit on the heels with it. I think if players are available, they'll get them. It's pointless waiting until the summer because they may go elsewhere. If they've got an opportunity to get a big name player in or a couple of big name players in, they'll get them in January. They won't wait because if they wait till the summer, that might not be an available option again.
I mean, we were trying to get 1 or 2 more signings during the summer, so it would be weird if we went through January without a major signing because we were trying to get more in.
I can't see it.
That Jeremy Frimpong for Leverkusen, he was from Man City and then Celtic. And he's a good player as well. Very good player.
Fair enough. Have you got one more player there, Alex, before we finish?
Yeah, it's the one to be expected because we do need to keep checking in because it is the most hyped transfer. It is the one with the biggest
link. Who this could be.
Players a right-sided 8 or a right wing. Arguably, nobody's going to be able to bench Miggy now. So midfielder, but still, how's he doing so far this season? Very, very well. 6 goals, 2 assists. He's on 8 goal contributions this season. So he's got more goal contributions than Miggy has, and Miggy's playing absolutely out of his skin, as we know. So this guy's going quietly under the radar as Leicester at meandering down the bottom of the table. This guy, despite playing in a poor side at the moment in terms of poor form, he is putting in work. Age profile. Oh, does that mean his birthday tomorrow, doesn't it? No, 35.
Come on, Alex. Maths there, matey.
Terrible maths. Bloody hell. I know I need some sleep. So the right age profile, 25, nearly 26. And if we go down and have a look at the important bits.
Look at that. I mean, Jesus.
So I have got him clicked in as a midfielder, but we don't play with a number 10, really.
Yeah.
So I prefer to see him sort of, how he would compare to sort of 8s and double pivots and stuff. And it's pretty crazy. Dribbles completed is very high for a midfielder. Touches in the attacking penalty area is high. He's receiving passes really high up. Progressive carries is really high. He's got a reasonably good eye for a passer. There's 4 progressive passes.
Yeah.
Shot creating actions is through the roof at 4. He's having nearly 3 shots a game. If you compare this, okay, let's spin this slightly and think about how Willock and Longstaff are playing. Let's swap him for Longstaff. Longstaff's not having 3 shots a game. He's not getting 4 shot creating actions per 90. He's doing well, but this would just add a lot more. It would give us a lot more oomph coming from another area of the pitch, a lot more attacking oomph. And we're already looking quite strong anyway. So to have, and then if you potentially pair that with Joe Linton or Willock's driving runs and the intricate plays with Bruno, and then you've got Maddison in this mix as well. It's crazy. And if we have a look at the full scouting report as well, it gives us a few more juicy stats. So let's go for my favorite stat. Where is my favorite stat? Passes under pressure. So this is what Bruno's incredible at. So he doesn't play too many high ones at the moment. Arguably, that's down to how Leicester are doing.
Yeah.
Possession-based side, but they're struggling a lot at the moment. That's why his pressures are a little bit down as well. But you can still see in pass types here, through balls, not incredible, but still in the 74th percentile. Switches is very important. This is integral to the way we play. We do a lot of switches through Bruno or Trippier, and that's how we were trying to build up against Tottenham. This guy, it takes corners as well, lots of high passes. It really just kind of suits the way we play. I think he'd be missing a bit of energy potentially from the way we play. But I think this guy is 9/10 of the way there in terms of fitting into how we want to play. I think you'd need a little bit of work in terms of stylistically changing and settling in with the teammates. But it's what we need. It's basically putting the right puzzle piece in the slot. And I fully expect us, whether we get him or not, I don't know, but I think we will go back in for him because we tried in the summer. That is confirmed that we put 2 bids in. So this is much fairer to talk about this.
And Ian Wright has already said that, Madison's told him he wants to come. So I'm not going to argue with Ian Wright on that one. Craig Lee says, not sure we'll go back for Maddison with Bruno playing further forward. Think we'll be looking for a deep lying playmaker. Tielemans does it for Belgium, but his wages rule us out.
Bruno's not playing further forward, though. He's playing as a 6.
Yeah, he is, but he gets forward. That's
he's a 6 that he's just getting forward because we've got such good centre backs.
Yeah, and he's playing as a 6 as an absolute quality footballer himself. So there you go. Right, that is it for tonight's show, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. As I say, we've had over 800 watching tonight, which is absolutely fantastic. When I last checked, we were only 140 away from hitting the magical 15,000 mark, which will be a massive achievement for the channel. It really will. So, share this channel with as many people as you can. Get them to sign up and things like that, and let us keep rising, as they say. Thank you so much to all the super chatters tonight. Very, very generous and kind donations again. It does go to a good cause. And please become a member. Hit the join button. Become part of this community. Alex05, thank you for your £1.79 super chat. Great stream again, lads. Thank you very much. And of course, if you're new and you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. It is free to do so. And also the notification bell, which will let you know when we upload it, we go live. Thank you very much to the Mod Squad. Thank you, Alex, for tonight. And we will see you all again tomorrow night. Don't forget the fan forum it starts at 8 o'clock tomorrow instead of 8:30. So half an hour earlier at 8 o'clock with myself and Billy Bob Coleman. But until then, guys, enjoy the rest of the evening. See you then. Good night.